Oh my goodness, dude. So yesterday we made the video talking about the Frank Seravalli tirade. He discussed Mikael Backlund, he discussed Noah Hanifin, he also threw out Elias Lindholm and said that all these guys did not want to re-sign with the Calgary Flames. Furthermore, adding on top of that, you had Mitch Love, the Calgary Wranglers AHL coach, the guy projected to being the next Calgary Flames coach, ended up going to Washington. So in the span of about an hour, the Calgary Flames fan base ended up just getting the biggest news that their team probably is going to go through a rebuild. Not because their GM is going to decide that, but because the players themselves are walking out. That all these guys that are expiring in 2024 have no intentions of signing, and that the Flames are starting to get the balls rolling on trades. And even more so, this was exemplified at the end of the day, the workday at least, because we had ourselves another tweet made by Elliot Friedman saying that there's word this afternoon that Calgary has made Tyler Toffoli available for trade. Frank Seravalli said this as well, not to throw another log onto the fire for the Flames, but the potential exodus continues. I'm told Tyler Toffoli also plans on not re-signing in Calgary. So, in the span of 1 day's worth of time, you'll essentially, and I'm going to say essentially and not actually because these guys are still technically Flames, but you lose the commitment of Lindholm, Backlund, Hanifin, Toffoli, and the guy y'all thought was going to be your coach. What a disaster day for the Calgary Flames, and with Tyler Toffoli being in the mix as well, the guy who literally was your most productive player in 2022-2023, it opens the door to some really interesting discussions because right away, after Toffoli was mentioned as being on the market, you had a whole bunch of people go out there and have their say. Toffoli is 31 years old. He is 6 feet, 196, a right-handed forward, signed to the end of 2024, making $4.25 million a year. This is the contract that the Habs signed Toffoli to, and because he had 73 points in 82 games this previous season, 34 goals, 39 assists, he really is kind of in the prime of his career, which is cool because, I mean, he gets a payday next year when he becomes a free agent, just not with Calgary after all. This is a career year for Toffoli in terms of goals, assists, and points, and it comes in a very backwards year for a lot of other Calgary Flames players. You had guys like Huberdeau and Kadri not really performing to their standard, but Toffoli did. He exceeded all expectations. He was under a point per game. So, for Toffoli and what he brings to a hockey team, there's no doubt about it, he is a good player, and a talented one at that. But because he is now available in the trade market, I wanted to go out there and talk about some of the discourse I've seen from my favorite teams' fan bases, because I saw a lot of Canadiens fans go out there and say, hey, what if we decided to run it back? I saw a few Canucks fans going out there and saying, hey, what if we decided to run it back? And people were tweeting all the memes, oh, this is what it would look like if Toffoli was in a Canadiens jersey. Oh, this is what it would look like if he was in a Canucks jersey. Wow, look at this Photoshop. And it's just a picture of him back from when he was a Canadian or a Canuck. But realistically, I wanted to make this video because I know you got a lot of people out there that are going to talk to me in the comments, that are going to tweet me, that are going to bring this up on my timeline asking, hey, Toffoli, he's available. Should the Canadiens try to get him? Oh, he's available. Should the Canucks try to get him? Let's go out there and talk about this from both points of views. And I guess before we could do that, it is your prerogative to go out there and let me know in the comments all your opinions about this idea, because for sure, if you really do see value in bringing in Tyler Toffoli to your hockey team, I'm not going to go out there and say that you're wrong. I'm just going to go out there and let you decide what it is that you want to decide. So, comment section is your floor. What are your opinions about Tyler Toffoli coming over to the Canucks and or the Canadiens in a trade-like scenario because all of a sudden he is now free on the market? Let's go into my thoughts here. So, Montreal, starting out with this team, the biggest fear that I have with bringing a guy like Tyler Toffoli in is that, firstly, there would be a lot of expectations for this guy. And I don't necessarily know if that's all too healthy for a guy who really just kind of broke out in his NHL career post-30. I'm not going to go out there and say that Toffoli is not capable of having another 70-point season, 30-goal year. He certainly is a talented enough player to get production like that. It's just, last time when he was with the Canadiens, he was technically the best player. He had the most goals, he had the most points, 28 goals in 52 games played. I mean, let's do the math on that. 28 divided by 52 multiplied out by 82. Yeah, he had a 44-goal pace. And it's because he had like 4 hat-tricks a night against Vancouver in the North Division season that year. But heading into 2023-2024, I would be kind of surprised if Toffoli had himself a 44-goal year. Point per game? Maybe you're pushing it, but realistically, I feel like there would be a good amount of expectation on this guy that would be sort of overwhelming in a sense. Not to say that he's not good enough to get it, it's just the Habs are different now. Tyler Toffoli playing with a younger Nick Suzuki, playing with a younger Caulfield who broke out onto the team in the postseason. Kotkaniemi was here. You had the defense core like Sherratt, Weber, Edmondson, and Petrie. It was a different team. And it's not guaranteed that if Toffoli gets brought onto the Habs in 23-24, that he's even given the reins to produce and go off in the ways that he did. You're going to have to see Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki get a bigger role. You would likely, hopefully, in an ideal world, want to see Slafkovsky be given bigger minutes. You still have Josh Anderson on the team. You have some other younger guys that will be breaking onto the squad in 23-24. So for Tyler Toffoli, nothing is really guaranteed for him to be given the same role to get the numbers that he did this previous season, to get the numbers that he did back when he was in that Canadian division year getting multiple hat tricks against Vancouver. It's not really guaranteed, and as a result, I'm not too sure if it would be all too justified for the contract to be given out to him in the first place. Because he's going to get paid next year. And he's going to get paid because of that 70-point year. If he has a down year in 23-24, NHL GMs are going to sign him because, hey, the guy had 70 points last year. He is really locked in, I feel, to be getting a bigger deal. And for the Canadiens to potentially be the team that takes him on for the last season of his contract, it's really going to have to depend on if they re-sign him or not. And if they're not able to do that, then I don't know if it's really worth it to pursue him in the first place. Meanwhile, you have the Vancouver Canucks going out there, and fans of this team saying, hey, we should bring back Toffoli. And while I do admit that he might be an upgrade over Conor Garland, I don't know if this is really necessary either. In an ideal world, you want Kuzmenko and you want Besser as your top 6 right-handed wingers. You want Petey and Miller right there, and you want maybe, I don't know, Beauvillier or something. I'm also going to say Ilya Mikheyev you want to give significant minutes to, because you want Höglander, Podkolzin, and the other younger guys to be spread out towards your bottom, the middle 6. There just isn't really enough room here. And furthermore, the same dilemma presents itself. You don't want to be getting guys on the last year of their deals with the potential of being able to go to free agency while shelling out assets that will probably help you in the future to do so. Calgary's going to be looking for futures here. They're not going to trade Toffoli for anybody that's actually a roster player right now, because this team, I mean, look, half your core is leaving. So when it comes to the short-term versus long-term planning, you kind of have to focus on the long-term because you got no choice. And so for Vancouver, this is really a team that, I mean, look, we had heard all the rumors that they want to remain competitive and all that, but at the end of the day, this would be just too much of a win-now move to justify in any respect. It's not going to happen. And if it did, I'd be interested. I would like to see it from a fan service point of view to see Tyler Toffoli come back to the Canucks, but I can't realistically say that this is the productive choice to go down. So that's kind of how I see it. It doesn't really work out for both sides. Of course, the only reason we're making this video is because I saw an odd amount of Toffoli to Vancouver, Toffoli back to Montreal tweets yesterday after the announcement was made that he wants out, or that the Flames are going to try to trade him because he's not going to re-sign. It's getting weird up in these parts, eh? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, though. What are your opinions about Tyler Toffoli coming back to Vancouver or coming back to Montreal? Do you think it's a good move? Would you like to see it? If there's a trade involved, what do you think the trade looks like? And if you got to re-sign this guy, what do you re-sign him to? I don't really feel comfortable giving out any dollar amounts because it's really going to depend on what happens next year. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9. And Bye.